Poilievre stuns Carney in heated debate on leadership, forces 2% military spending pledge publicly. Canadians witnessed a defining moment in Parliament as Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader primed to challenge Mark Carney, launched a relentless cross-examination on matters of leadership, national defense, and energy independence. The exchange was more than a political clash. It was a showdown over credibility, priorities, and the kind of leadership Canadians want. The atmosphere was electric. Poilievre's tone was pointed, assertive, and highly calculated. Every question was framed to expose hesitation, vagueness, and the gap between rhetoric and reality in Carney's policy stance. This wasn't just theater for theater's sake. It tapped directly into growing public discontent. Recent polling reveals a significant shift in sentiment. 45% of Canadians now believe government spending is too high. Of those, 20% support deep cuts, and another 25% want moderate reductions. Only 1 in 5 Canadians supports additional spending. Meanwhile, federal budgets continue to funnel billions into consultants, bloated programs, and international pledges. Poilievre seized this disconnect to question whether Carney's leadership was merely a continuation of Trudeau-era spending or a break with it. Energy sovereignty was the second flashpoint. Poilievre criticized the Liberals' endless consultations and environmental reviews that paralyze major projects. He cited long-delayed pipeline proposals, like the Prince Rupert route, as prime examples of Ottawa's inability to move forward. "If you wait until everyone agrees, nothing gets built," he declared. He argued that Carney's style of governance, rooted in consensus and caution, is stifling Canada's potential and eroding geopolitical leverage. As Canada sells its oil at a discount, billions in revenue are lost, and with it, opportunities for job creation and national prosperity. Poilievre's energy critique was as much about national identity as economics. He praised provincial leaders like Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who have pushed aggressively for pipeline development as a means of asserting provincial autonomy and advancing Canada's economic independence. He warned that Ottawa's inaction is fueling division and squandering one of the country's most strategic assets. For him, the issue isn't simply carbon or consultation, it's Canada's ability to act in its own interest on the global stage. Then came the bombshell. Under sustained questioning, Carney made a surprise announcement. Canada will meet the NATO 2% GDP military spending threshold this year. That declaration marked a sharp pivot from the Liberals' historic reluctance on defense funding. He justified the move by citing urgent needs, Arctic defense, global deployments, and military readiness. Carney promised new naval vessels, expanded airlift capacity, and investments in surveillance technology. For many, it was the most significant defense commitment since the 1950s. But Poilievre didn't let the moment pass without challenge. "Where is the money coming from?" he demanded. Carney offered generalities, reinvesting existing allocations and procurement reform, but failed to provide concrete figures. Critics quickly pointed out that only about $9 billion has been earmarked, far short of the $20 billion required to truly meet the NATO benchmark. That left a big question on the table. What programs would be cut to pay for this? Social services? Infrastructure? Indigenous initiatives? The focus then shifted to public safety. Poilievre highlighted a disturbing case where a woman was stabbed 15 times by a former partner, but the assailant was released on bail with reduced charges. It was a powerful example of what he called justice system failure. Canadians, he argued, are not just concerned with Arctic patrols or international deployments. They want to feel safe walking in their own neighborhoods. National security, Poilievre emphasized, begins at home. Carney, to his credit, acknowledged that Canada's armed forces are in a state of serious decline. Just one of 4 submarines is operational. Less than half of the Navy and Air Force fleets are ready for missions. Military bases in Halifax, Esquimalt, and Ottawa are aging and underfunded. He promised to modernize logistics and diversify supply chains away from U.S. dominance. But Poilievre fired back. Announcing intentions doesn't secure our skies. That's not leadership, it's deferral. The latest polls show Poilievre's focus on specifics is resonating. Two-thirds of Canadians support hitting the 2% defense target, but over half want that funding to come from within the existing budget, not through tax hikes or deficit spending. That aligns directly with Poilievre's message: lead with priorities, not press releases. Demonstrate discipline by reallocating, not growing, the size of government. Carney tried to recover momentum by referencing provincial support. He claimed premiers like Ontario's Doug Ford and Nova Scotia's Tim Houston have responded positively to his economic posture, especially compared to Trudeau's focus on DEI and climate symbolism. But Poilievre questioned whether this was true endorsement or just relief that Trudeau is on the way out. He warned that if Parliament breaks for summer without clear movement on pipelines, budget reductions, and justice reform, any goodwill will evaporate. Indigenous consultation added another layer. The Assembly of First Nations issued a statement demanding real engagement on energy projects while cautioning against federal overreach. Carney's cabinet was caught flat-footed when Attorney General Sean Fraser had to clarify that Indigenous groups would not be granted veto power, after suggesting otherwise. Poilievre capitalized on the inconsistency, highlighting how pipeline decisions are burdened by delay and process, while climate mandates are pushed through unilaterally. On pipelines, Carney was cautious. He promised regulatory streamlining but refused to abandon rigorous environmental standards. He insisted on community consent, citing the need for a long-term, sustainable model of development. But Poilievre argued this simply reinforces paralysis. His counterpoint was clear: trim red tape, accelerate approvals, and signal to investors that Canada is open for business. Alberta and Saskatchewan, he claimed, are ready to deliver prosperity if Ottawa would stop standing in the way. The difference in their visions couldn't be starker. Poilievre called on Carney to release a three-point plan before September, where the budget reallocations will come from, which pipelines will proceed, and what justice reforms will be enacted. Canadians, he said, are tired of slogans and symbolism. They want results. Carney, in Poilievre's view, needs to decide whether he will be defined by action or by inertia. In the end, the greatest threat to Canadian democracy isn't fake news or fringe extremism. It's the slow, quiet capture of the narrative by people who believe they know better than the rest of us. They lied to us for years, not with outright falsehoods, but with carefully curated half-truths. And most of us still don't even realize what's really going on. But now that the curtain has been pulled back, the choice is ours. Continue living in a story written for us, or start telling one of our own.